Hello, welcome guys to this call. Um, I'm going to start sharing my screen now and we'll be starting about now. So just a moment. All right. Can you see my screen clearly? Okay, cool. So welcome both of you in the call. I'm hoping that some more people will join the call. But even if they do not join the call, I'm saving this call so that we can share it on our YouTube channel and anybody can go back there and see the output from this space. But yeah, it's good you're here because I can directly answer any questions that you might have. So, these are the topics we'll be covering today. First, get to know the MC. So, I'll be doing a brief introduction of myself. I'll give a quick fact about the entity to provide some context to the TM process implementation, and then I'll talk a bit more deeply into the TM process implementation. We'll look at SWOT analysis of TM in the entity, and then we'll go into OD. So we'll look at the global OD indices. We'll be looking at the OD processes, the improvements made in the current term, and then I'll be taking any questions that you might have. So, a brief introduction. My name is Imonitio Osaze James, but many people call me just Osaze. I was LCP of AIESEC in my local committee, Benin City in Nigeria 1617. I was MCVP last term in Nigeria 1718, and of course I'm MCVP TM&OD in the current term. Now, quick facts about the entity. So I'm dropping these quick facts here because there are some things I will mention later on in this video that would need me to talk about this. So first, we have 6 local entities. We have 2 LCs, Linköping and Uppsala. They are the LCs that we have. We have 2 expansion units, Gothenburg and Lund, and we have 2 project teams, Stockholm and Linnaeus. So I will be explaining how we have these different entities spread out among these different membership status when I'm talking about OD. But first, I'll talk about the TM processes. And we'll be looking at how much we have implemented the TM process in the entity. So we have the 4 processes like you should already know about: get, develop, keep, and report. So these are the 4 processes that we have in any entity in AIESEC. So for get is basically recruitment. So we usually have 2 recruitment cycles every term. The fall recruitment, which happens in August and September, and the spring recruitment, which happens in January and February. So a bit of an output from the last recruitment we had, the fall recruitment in August, September. The attraction started pretty early. That was like the first major project we took on as an MC. Immediately our term started. So we started with attraction in the second week of August online. So all social media spaces and through our website, we were promoting our recruitment. And then physical promotions, which is like campus attraction, started only in the first week of September. This was because, like you can tell from second week of August to first week of September, we're just doing online promotions, and this is because students don't really resume early to their universities in August, so they start to show up in their universities as from September. And we ended attraction in the third week of September, and 3 LCs had the highest sign-ups: Uppsala, Lund, and Linköping. Of course, there are a couple of factors that determined how many sign-ups that each LC got. I'll be explaining a bit more about that later. And we realized from that recruitment that almost half of the applicants we got were first-year master students. So when we were selling AIESEC, the value proposition of AIESEC was more appealing to master students than bachelor students. Most applicants got to know about AIESEC through the university event. So even though we did not have too much time for physical promotions, most of the people still found out about AIESEC through the physical promotions because it was more effective when we went for info stands, info sessions, lecture bashes, across our different LCs. And The major reason, the biggest value proposition that people joined AIESEC, the biggest reason why people joined AIESEC was for personal and professional development. So we got all this feedback after the recruitment. We went back to the form we used. We went back to see why people wanted to join AIESEC, and we realized that personal and professional development is the biggest reason why people in Sweden would want to join AIESEC. So also from that recruitment, we we recruited 52 new people. So the recruitment goal was 54, but we succeeded in recruiting just 52 new members. So that was about 96% of the recruitment goal. And the selection process happened for about 2 weeks, from September 14th to 30th, and the induction happened immediately after the selection. So one thing we did was that the coaches, so the LC coaches from the MC were present in each of the LCs during this recruitment period. All through the recruitment period, that is for about a month, we had LC coaches in the LCs supporting the LCs with what they would need to make the recruitment successful. And the conversion rate from sign up to selected members was about 25%. So while we recruited 52 people, we had sign ups of about over 200 people signed up into AIESEC. And applicants that were not selected were drafted into a different pool, a separate pool, so that they will form potential customers for our exchange products. And after the recruitment, we shifted our focus to ensure that these members were engaged and that they were engaged and that we would manage and develop them to go on to do the exchanges that's required in the entity. So that's it from the last recruitment. Currently, we are in the middle of another recruitment, the spring recruitment, and brief information about that because, of course, there can't be too many informations now because we are still in the middle of that. So, brief information is the recruitment goal is a bit higher than the previous recruitment. We have a goal of 74 new members, and currently we are in the talent selection and allocation phase. So, we are wrapping up with promotions now, and in our different LCs, we are starting to do interviews and we are starting to select new members. And the recruitment is scheduled to end in the third week of February. So in the third week of February, we must have been done with our inductions conferences, and we'll wrap up the last recruitment space for the current term. So after recruitment, the next process that I'll talk about is develop. So these are the things that we did to ensure that these members we recruited were developed. So in the current term, for performance management, 33% of our members are achieving at least 70% of their goals. So we know that one of the clear MOS for talent management is how many percentage of our members are achieving their goals. So we have a personal development plan tool that we use in tracking our member goals. So we track their goals, what it is they want to achieve every month. We review these goals every quarter. So we reviewed it in the last 2 quarters, and 33% of our members are achieving at least 70% of their goals, which I think is, quite a low number. There's a lot of work to be done. We are looking at focusing on this current semester to ensure that we have more of our members achieving more of their goals. And aside performance management, for national education cycle and team leader capacity building, we of course worked with an education cycle framework. So every MCVP had a spreadsheet and they filled in what they wanted to educate their members on, as it was relevant to creating more exchange opportunity, more exchange approvals to make more exchange approvals. And aside the education, we had our MCVP operations visiting the LCs to train the team leaders on what was necessary, what was most necessary, and what the LCs needed to focus on. So we did a lot of implementation in terms of education and team leader capacity building. And in retaining our members, we worked with a reward and recognition framework. So we ensure that we recognize our members every month on our social media platforms and our internal communication channels. And we rewarded our members at the last conference. So at the last conference, which we tagged lead, we had a space to reward people and LCs in the entity as it was befitting. So yeah, the rewards and recognition framework is still very much in plan and is still very much in use. And we have a team standard survey and engagement survey. So for the team standard survey, we take this every month to check how much of the team standards LCs are implementing, and not just LCs, different teams are implementing. And we have a quarterly engagement survey that we need every member to fill so that we understand the NPS of the network. But for retention, something to note is there is a weak implementation of succession planning. So we know that the new term just started, the LC 1920 term just started, and we still have a few EB positions that are vacant. That means that the succession planning from 1819 to 1920 wasn't so strong. So we released LCP's application quite early, and then we had some LCP applicants, but the main problem was in selecting LCVPs. So some few members that we thought would apply, did not seem interested, and we had a couple of members also leaving the organization. And report, the last TM process. So reporting is centralized by the MC, so we don't have our LCs doing reporting on their own. That's because we have a relatively small entity, and so this information can be gathered by the MC. So the LCs don't need to bother so much about getting information like team standards implementation or retention rates or IXP. I on the MC take this information using our accountability system, and I'll talk about that a bit later. Okay. So, yeah, the SWOT analysis for our LCs. So, very quickly, we'll be checking the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats as it concerns talent management. So, some strengths in talent management. First is that there is good synergy among functions and a common goal for members' development. So, everyone in the entity, every MCVP, every person in the entity understands that our focus right now is in ensuring member development. So, with our education cycles, with our plans that we are having, we're ensuring that it is contributing to the member development. So there's that synergy. And then we have really energetic members. We have members that are really, really energetic and enthusiastic for their roles in AIESEC. And another strength is we have an improvement in our membership state compared to the way we started the term. So we started the term with very few members in the LCs, and that was why, like I mentioned earlier, it was like a full MC project. The first recruitment we did was like a full MC project, and right now we have like a better membership state compared to the start of the term. And our strength is that we have really committed LCPs. So the new set of LCPs we have for 1920 across all our entities are like really committed and driven to make stuff happen in their term. And we have a 75% retention rate from the last recruitment. So we reviewed the retention rate for the first 6 months, and we have a 75% retention rate. And another strength is we have an accountability system that makes it easy for us to track from the MC side the things that are happening in the LCs, so that we can then understand the realities of each LC and give support that is needed for every single LC and every single member. And the weaknesses. So there are two main weaknesses I've highlighted here. The first weakness is we have a lack of sufficient AIESEC experience in our members. So most of our members are new, like really new, and that means that they don't really have the AIESEC experience yet, and it's quite a challenge for us. Another weakness is in the first 6 months, I worked with no LCVP TM or TM responsible in the entity. That was because after the recruitment that we had in August and September, like almost every member they were recruited to front office department. So almost every member were either in OGX or IGT, and this was quite a challenge because I had to go through the LCPs for every information that I needed and for everything that I needed to implement. So for some opportunities, one opportunity of course is that we are currently going through a recruitment, and that means that we reviewed what worked and what did not work in the last recruitment, and we are bringing solutions to this current recruitment to make it far better. Another opportunity that we have is we have simple structures to work with. So, for instance, we understand our focus products in the entity to be OGV, IGT, and OGT. And we have simple structures that make it easy for us to focus on these products. And another opportunity is that we have members, like I mentioned earlier, members that are enthusiastic to learn and do new stuff. This is also resulting from our conferences. So we've had 2 conferences so far, and in those conferences, we've ensured that members understand what it is we need in the entity, so that they always go back to their LCs ready to make stuff happen. And we have a couple of threats. One threat we have is that no exchange. Currently, we don't have like real exchange results. If you check Expa, you check AIESEC in Sweden, our numbers are like really, really low, and that is a threat because new members might feel discouraged when they are trying to make stuff happen, but it's really hard to make these things happen. So that is a current threat. Another threat is Sweden generally is a very, very competitive organization, a very competitive country. So in our campuses, we have different organizations that really do compete with AIESEC. You know, even inactively, they don't need to come up and do stuff. They're like, it's really, really competitive for any organization in Swedish campuses. And so AIESEC always has to be up and doing, else we would not get the kind of attraction and the kind of, the kind of results that we need. Another threat that we have is we see that some members misunderstand the purpose of AIESEC, and that is partly due to the fact that um, during the promotion in our recruitment exercises, we did not promote. In some cases, we did not promote the right kind of value proposition. So there are some members that do not completely understand AIESEC's purpose. So that's it about talent management. I've tried to give enough information. I believe that if you have any particular question, you can ask at the end of this presentation. And for organization development, so as we started our term, we got from AIESEC International that we are going to work on OD processes, on creating OD processes. So AIESEC in Sweden was chosen to be one of the pilot entities for making OD processes, because what it used to be was that there was no clear set of processes in organization development. So we have MCVP ODs, but we don't have clear stuff to do, clear MOSs, clear KPIs. But that changed this time around. So Sweden, together with about 7 different entities, worked to create the set of OD processes, and we have them here. So there are 5 OD processes. But of course, because it was created after the start of the term, we started working already on some of our own focus areas. So this is the global OD indices. So if you check AIESEC globally, we have our global OD model and we have our global OD index. So every entity has its own position, in a global point of view, depending on how well it is doing in the product development index and health development index. So for health development index, AIESEC in Sweden currently has a score of 0.853, and for product development index, we have a score of 0.248. So I would like to assume that you already understand like what PDIs and HDIs are if you're looking to apply. But to give a bit more explanation, so HDI, which is Health Development Index, explains how well an entity is implementing talent management processes and finance standards. So we want to see how well you're implementing your finance standards and TM processes. And in Sweden, we have a finance standard implementation of 83% and TM process implementation of 87.8%. And for product development index, the way that is scored, we look at 4 main areas: better, sustainable, more, and there's another metric we check for PDI, which I can't remember now. But anyways, we check this 4 metric. The first one, better, looks at your conversion ratio from sign-ups or from applied to approved. Are you, Nico? Okay. So the second metric, which is more, we check the number of realizations that you are doing. and the other metric, which is sustainable, we check how much profit your product is given. The last metric now has skipped my mind. But based on these four metrics, we group each entity from 1 to 4 or 1 to 5. So some products are grouped from 1 to 5, some others from 1 to 4. So countries that are in group 1 for any product are the ones that are doing like really really well. They're scoring really high. And countries that are group 4 or 5, that there's much more that they could be doing. So AIESEC in Sweden is in group 4 in our three focus products. OGV, OGT, and IGT were in group 4 in all of these products. So that can already tell you that there is a lot more that we could be doing, that we are facing a lot of challenges currently, and yeah, we really need to improve in our performance development index. So the improvements made in the current term. So like I mentioned, the OD processes were made only after we started the current term. And before we finished making the OD processes, AIESEC in Sweden, we already had our focus as regards organization development. So the first thing we worked on was to make an updated membership criteria for the entity. So we updated the way members could get downgraded or upgraded. So we have three membership status. You are either a full member entity, or you're either an LC, or you're an official expansion, or a project team. But for an LC, we had to communicate the way you will get, upgraded or downgraded from being a full member to being a member in a lot. So that was implemented upon. And the next thing we worked on was the creation of a growth path. So we did not really have a growth path for the entity at the start of our current term. So what we did was we created a growth path with tier system so that people could understand what tier level they are on for their focus products and what they had to do if they were going to improve in their tier system. So we created the growth path, and the last thing we worked on was we opened some unique roles. I call them unique because they are not like usual roles in AIESEC. I think AIESEC in Sweden is the first case where we created roles, local growth managers roles. So they are like seeders, but we realized that in our LCs um, we needed to support LCs with more experience. We needed our new members in the LCs to really understand how to go about doing AIESEC stuff, how to set routines in their LCs, how to ensure team standards implementation, for instance, and stuff like that. And while we were busy here, centralizing our processes and giving strategic support, we realized that the LCs needed like physical support. And so we created these leadership roles, and we call them local growth managers. So we selected three of them. We selected three growth managers, and we distributed them across our local entities. So what they are doing now is to directly support the entities with every kind of thing that they would need, depending on what the focus is on. So, for instance, we are currently focusing on recruitment in the entity. So the growth managers are in the LCs giving as much support as they can to ensure that recruitment is a success. And after recruitment, the next thing will be, of course, focus on exchanges and how to do more OGX. And the growth managers also will be the ones to support the LCs to ensure that they have the experience that they need to make exchanges happen. So yeah, that's it basically about TM and OD point of view. I'd like to know if you have any particular questions. Yes, I can hear you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm. 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 Okay. What's your name, please? Okay. Yeah, it's fine. So I will be repeating your questions because I'm recording the video and I'm not sure if the video is covering, like it's recording your voice from the other side. So I will repeat your questions now for the sake of the recorded video. So what you are saying is what we are doing to ensure that we have better retention rates, because Sanon, you said that in your conversation with LCPs, they told you that they are having a big issue with retention. So one thing we realize is people we are joining AIESEC for not the right reasons. So we realized that after recruitment, people felt less engaged, and when we asked why, it was because we had promoted AIESEC to be so fancy and fluffy, and then they realized that when they got into the organization, they had to do very I don't know. They have to do stuff that were not communicated to them. Like OGX members had to call people that had signed up to ensure that they will apply for opportunities, and they had to do this so many times, and sometimes there was no result. So that got them really frustrated, and that's one reason. So one thing that we have done is, like, we are going through this current recruitment, is to place emphasis on selling the right value proposition. So online, all of our platforms online that we're using for promotions, we are as much as possible putting very clearly what it is you'll be doing when you join ISEC. But of course, we know that we have to make it align with what it is, what the externals will understand. So we cannot just use classic ISEC terms or ISEC context. So while we try to make it appealing to people on the outside, we also try to make it very clear so that people understand what it is they'll be doing, and we set the right expectations basically. So aside that, something else we are doing is, with the local growth managers that I talked about, we are giving placing more attention to the experience of members in the LCs. So these growth managers will be there to support the LCEBs, and with that, we are sure of having a quality executive board set up in every LC, so that when we are doing stuff like performance management and we are tracking members' development, we can get real information as to what it is these members need, and with that, we can provide the right kind of support. So those are like two main things that we are doing. First, selling the right value proposition to our members. Second, placing huge emphasis on their development and performance management. I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we do that in the beginning. Okay, so I'll have to repeat the question again. You asked if we do members' personas before recruitment, and yes, we do that in the initial stage of talent planning. Of course, we do the planning together with all LCPs, because LCPs understand the realities of their LCs more than even anyone on the MC. So we do that with the LCPs, and they get to write out what member persona would fit their entities, and how we need to search for these people. So we do that. The only challenge with that is, after coming up with a plan, the ideal plan, we set out to bring this plan into reality, and then we meet lots of things that you just cannot factor everything into planning. So we want to get this kind of member, for instance, a bachelor student in the first year that is a local, that's Swedish, and all of that. During promotions, we realized that it's so hard to get like a local, like a Swedish person interested in ISEC, because perhaps the value proposition does not appeal to the way that a normal Swedish would be. So yeah, we do our member persona, but of course we always encounter different challenges. The thing is, with every challenge we face, we try to come up with solutions to them. You're welcome. hmm The second one is we are placing emphasis on members' performance management. That is to ensure that we understand what members want to achieve in ISEC. We track them based on that and give them the support they need to achieve it. So to ensure basically that they are better engaged. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I don't have an NST in TM. So the way we do it is because I mean our members, AIESEC Sweden is not very large compared to most entities. So we have a spreadsheet that we use. We call it the PDP tool, Performance Development Plan tool, for each LC. So in this tool, we have clearly parts that you feel. So between a team leader and a team member, the team leader makes the team member feel what he wants to achieve for the month, what steps he will take to achieve this for the month. And then at every month, we review how much of that goal that you have achieved in percentage, why you could not achieve everything completely. So I go back to check this for every LC and see how we could provide more support. So I communicate this to the LCPs to understand this is what the members need, and this is how we could ensure that they are better engaged and that they are achieving their goals. So that is basically what I do now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, the implementation stage of each phase. Yeah, so for recruitment, we are currently going through recruitment now, so that is like a transit. Yeah. So, but for recruitment, the goal is at the end of this recruitment phase, we must have implemented 100% from talent planning to talent selection and allocation, talent promotions, talent induction. We are placing emphasis on every single part of the recruitment to ensure that it's 100%. For develop, currently we are about 50% in develop because the performance management, while I try to ensure that LC is like completely implementing it, in some cases it's really hard because when I ask for why some LCs are not implementing it for some of their members, some members are like it's hard to get them on a one-to-one space. So for some members don't have the time to have this one-to-one space to do the PDP, and yeah, so currently it's 50% for develop, and that's because it's that high because we've had some trainings by the MCVP operations. Yeah, and for keep, it's yeah. You wanted to ask? Yeah, for keep it's about 50% as well. 50% because we run engagement surveys. But the retention rate is not that high. We think that it can be better. So we are just about 50% in our keep strategies. And for reports, I cannot give a metric on that now because only the MC does it. And while we are using the AI template for reporting, so the MC I'm doing that is centralized here. So I cannot say like the LCs are not implementing the reporting phase of TM process, it's just the MCI. But I ensure I do it every month. I update our reporting template every month. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So I have a there's an accountability system that I use. Sorry. There's an accountability system that I use. Like it's a spreadsheet basically, and the spreadsheet contains every information that is needed by anybody that wants to know anything about our members. So that spreadsheet, um, I track TM standards there. So for every LC and for every team, I set up a survey depending on the team standard phase, if it's building, performing, or closing. So I set up this survey and I send it across to the team leaders every month. And then after they answer this survey, I get the output from the response and fill it in my team standards tracker. So the tracker is in the accountability system I talked about, together with every information you need, like the list of our members, TM process implementation, everything is in that accountability system. So I use surveys and responses. I fill it in that tracker. Then it's easier to make sense of the TM standards. You can tell if you are low in building or if you are high in performing, and you can also assess this based on every month. Hmm. Is it what? Hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did not hear that part.
Yeah.
Is it what?
Yeah. So I'm not on call. So
Give me a
yeah.
moment. Yeah.
So the question is like the mass recruitment is where we get people like advance a large number of people, but pocket recruitment is like
Oh, okay.
in times like yeah.
Okay, yeah, I get you now. Pocket recruitment or mass recruitment. So we do mass recruitment. But for one or two of our LCs, they've had to do pocket recruitment in cases where they realized that they needed some members in the LCs and they didn't have people. They could, of course, they could not wait for the next big recruitment, which is happening now. So they did pocket recruitment, but that very rarely happens. Our recruitment happens like in mass. So our recruitment is August, September for the fall, and then January, February for spring recruitment. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, a good question, Sandon. So yeah, we have an IXP campaign that is currently running in the entity. We launched it at the last conference. So in the third week of January, we had a conference and then we launched the IXP campaign. So it's running now, and we want our members to get approved between now and March 30th. So we've given them a cut-off price. We've slashed the prices for admin fee, and we are pushing to ensure that people go on our members go on exchange. But the thing is, because of the current recruitment, we are not promoting that so much. Like we've already launched the campaign, we are waiting for the recruitment to finish, then we can reinforce our promotion of the IXP. Mm-hmm. Yes, you're welcome. Well, thank you. You asked if we have TM and operations collaborative projects. There is no particular TM and operations collaborative project that we've made, but there are cases where I've had meetings with and the operations MCVPs, especially OGX MCVP, for us to work together on some things. But yeah, the only thing that we do together, you might call it a project, is our newsletter. So we send the newsletters, TM and marketing and OGX, one newsletter. We call it the organization health newsletter. They will put in every important information and send across to our members. So that is something that we do. But aside that, yeah, while there is no main project that we can call on, we do have meetings to synergize and look at ways to make our members better. Yeah. Okay. The main method of member attraction. So during recruitment, the biggest way we recruit members is by our campus events. So like I mentioned earlier, we do a lot of online promotions. We try to promote online, and this time around, we even did Facebook sponsored ads. So we invested financially in Facebook ads, targeted like our main target groups, like our target personnel in our different campuses. So we did all of that. But at the end of the day, we realized that more people get to know about AIESEC through our physical events. Like there are some university events at the start of a semester where you can come and put your table, and new students go around looking for which organization they should join. That usually brings a lot of members to us. That's like a huge source of attraction. So all university events and info stands, like physical events, are like they are the biggest ways that we use in attracting members, more than even the online attraction. Yeah, Sando. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The foundational projects that we've initiated. So we took part in all foundational projects, of course. So TM process implementation, we are doing finance standards, we are doing customer experience for user partners. I mean that's like general basically, because AI come up with these new processes and stuff like the customer flow, and of course in AIESEC in Sweden we are implementing it as well. So yeah, That has not been the new processes, like the new stuff in the new improvements in customer flow and SOPs. Those have not been communicated yet through our conferences, honestly. But you are looking at doing that. That's because the last conference, the our focus for the conference was different from a space where we could start to communicate about those things. But yes, we are pretty much involved in every foundational project in the entity. We are taking all foundational projects in the entity. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we started the term with LC coaches. So we had one person from the MC coaching, one LC. So we started with the term with four LCs and one expand. No, for just four LCs. Yeah, just four LCs. So when we came on board, we no, we started with them with five LCs. Sorry. So we came on board, and then during legislative meetings, we had one LC disbanded because there was no legal representative from the LC, and then two other LCs were downgraded from LCs to official expansion, and they are Gothenburg and Lund. So now we have two LCs, which are Uppsala and Linköping. Okay. So what we do now is the MC is no longer responsible for coaching our local entities, whether LC or OE. It's the growth managers. I mentioned that we have growth managers. So we have one coach for Linköping and Linus. Linköping is an LC. Linus is a project team. We have another growth manager coaching Stockholm and Uppsala. Stockholm is an LC. Uppsala is an LC. Stockholm is a project team. Then the last growth manager is coaching Gothenburg and Lund. So Gothenburg and Lund are both official expansions. So yeah, so that's the way we distributed the coaching. Yeah, yeah, it's a growth managers. Yeah, yeah. The question, right? What did you say? Can you repeat?
PDA. I'll send it to him later.
Okay, I can send that to you. I can send the link to you basically that has all the scores for each part of the PDI. There is a link that made by AI, so you can see every entity, and for every metric you can see the score. I don't have that in this presentation, so yeah, I think I could send that in the Facebook group for applicants. I could send that. Yeah, after this I will just send this to the Facebook group for applicants so you can find it there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. To get what? If it's possible to get this presentation, yes. So so first the video will be uploaded to AIESEC in Sweden YouTube channel. And the presentation, yeah, I think the video will also be posted on Facebook. But yeah, I think I will upload the link to the presentation to the Facebook group as well. So you will have it. Yeah, you're welcome. Is that all the question you have? Okay, thank you very much, Sandon, for making it. You're the only one that made it. I'm sure you asked questions that maybe other different applicants would find important as well. So thank you, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. So that is the end of the TM&OD consultancy space. Bye.